Ensuring food security for more than 1 billion people is a real challenge for the Indian government. But this challenge for the government also means a huge opportunity for the country's agrochemicals industry. They could play a big role here, but are they ready for it? Well, those kind of questions will be answered by experts here. Joining me on the show is Mr. Salil Singhal, CMD of PI Industries, Mr. Rajesh Agarwal, Managing Director of Insecticide India, Dr. J.N. Mazumdar, Vice President R&D of Crystal Crop Protection, and Mr. Sandeep Uppal, Managing Director and Head of Commercial Banking, HSBC. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Okay, before we get into the discussion mode, here is a small EV on the agrochemical industry. Take a look.
According to the industry body ASSOCHAM, the Indian agrochemical sector is expected to cross the 25,000 crore rupee mark in 2015 from the current level of 16,000 crore rupees, as it is clocking a compounded annual growth rate of about 15%. At present, India is the fourth largest producer of pesticides after USA, Japan and China. The global agrochemicals industry is expected to touch $68.5 billion by 2017, growing at a CAGR of 5.5%. The growth for Indian pesticides industry is huge if we look at consumption numbers. India consumes a meager 600 grams of pesticides per hectare, while it is 17 kg in South Korea, 4.5 kg in USA, with the world average working out to 3 kg per hectare. Clearly, India has a long way to go. In other words, it also means huge opportunities. On an average, 10 to 30% of crop yield is lost due to pests. It is estimated that food grains lost due to weeds is nearly 28%, crop diseases 25%, and insects 23%. Despite being an agrarian economy, the key reason for low agrochemicals consumption in India is lack of affordability by farmers, low awareness about potential losses by farmers, low reach and accessibility of pesticide products. Of course, the industry also faces pressures from counterfeit products and genetically modified seeds. To make pesticides more affordable and improve crop yield per hectare, the government and the industry bodies like ASSOCHAM have asked the industry to increase their investment in R&D from the current level of 2% to at least 8 to 10% so as to serve the domestic market and be economically competitive in the global arena. So is the Indian agrochemicals industry gearing up to meet the new challenges and chalk out a growth path for the next decade that could make India a global hub for agrochemicals?
Yeah, Mr. Singhal, if I may come to you first. Going by the AV, the consumption of pesticide in India is about 600 grams per hectare. In South Korea, 17 kg. So why is the consumption such low in this country?
I mean, traditionally the farmers' reach to technology has been poor, and therefore the consumption of inputs, I mean, if you look at seeds, you look at fertilizers, you look at pesticides, mechanization, primarily the missing of the last mile connect to technology is the major reason. In terms of product availability, in terms of the range of products availability, I don't think there is a problem from the industry side. And that gap is now gradually closing. I would also say that I'd rather not look at 600 gram or 17 kilos, but look at the gross coverage by agrochemicals to protect the crops from the ravages of diseases, pests and weeds.
How much currently is 20%?
I would say it would be little more, around 30%.
So how do we change this ratio?
But that's where the whole challenge and opportunity is. And I see a lot of changes that are now taking place. There is as you can see that the growth of industry, which used to be like a Hindu rate in the earlier times of 2 to 4%, has now shot up. We are being recognized for our manufacturing abilities, and the international global company who discover molecules are now very strongly focused on India, because they realize that the real potential for new products and technologies and newer solutions is now available. The markets are fully available to the Indian, to these companies. 2005 actually brought about this change when we accepted the patent law and allowed the introduction of newer solutions. In fact, that had been one of the single most important impediment in the growth of getting newer solutions for crop protection in India.
Okay, let me get Rajesh in. Yeah. How much are we losing by not using pesticides?
The loss is huge actually. Sometimes people say...
Somebody said it's something like $17 billion. Is the number right?
Yeah, you can say basically the loss is still huge actually, and it is in the fields and also in the storage times. So I would say that farmer now is becoming more and more aware, and particularly in even in the I would say in the northeastern belts now, and even if I say about certain areas which were not that developed in the past are getting huge popularity. So across the country, the farmer is becoming more popular, and as an industry we are getting the reach across, and it's not only insecticides they are getting popularity, but herbicides and fungicides they are also becoming more popular, which means farmers in the back days when he used to look at the pest infestation, then only he used to use the pesticide. Now he is opting for herbicides to kill the weeds, and also to fight the diseases he is opting for fungicides.
Is there a resistance from the farmers in terms of, because is it not easily available, or it is lack of finance? What is the resistance to use insecticides?
I don't think it is the lack of information basically, because he is not aware about the right usage. Because if I look at my career of 15-20 years, I see that a farmer spending on a single spray is in the range of 200 rupees to 300 rupees per acre of land. And it was the same 20 years back or 15 years back, and it is the same even today in most part of the country. So that has not changed if they are not opting for very specialized products which are a little expensive. If they are a monopoly, then yes, in certain cases. But in general, the spray price is same. So I don't think that as an input, the prices of agrochemical has gone up hugely, because lot of backward integration has taken place within the country. Lot of manufacturing strength has come up. So the things which were developed in the Western worlds are now being manufactured in the country and are available to the farmer at very competitive prices.
Is there any environmental hazard or something people talk about, toxic? Is there that kind of fear also among farmers?
I don't
they're
think
not that educated, you think?
I don't think that is the fear in the minds of the farmer. Rather, I believe that that is the fear in the minds of the people who are not the actual farmer and who are not aware about the facts actually. Because farmer is using the agrochemical in the field, and today most of the products which are coming in, they are very, I would say they have improved and they have undergone the changes, like the change which has come in the science, the same change has come in the agrochemicals. Today whatever agrochemicals we are producing, the most of them, they are very environment friendly, and their toxicology levels are very, very low, and they are targeting the specific pests actually. So I would say that there is a change in the generation of agrochemicals which today's farmer is using.
Pesticide consumption is very low. Do you think we need to evolve a national policy on the usage of pesticides? And what is the hurdle according to you?
There are hurdles, but definitely we can start somewhere, and then of course the policy can evolve. Now if you ask me that if a multinational is introducing a new product almost every year, his pipeline is very strong with the new products, then probably we cannot reach to that level immediately.
Do you think Indian company investing in R&D, or you think it's very...
Let's be clear, we do not do R&D to discover molecules. That's an extremely expensive exercise. What Indian industry by and large has done is to do reverse engineering. An existing molecule known for its toxicology, bioefficacy, safety, packaging, etc. Details, you reverse engineer and you indigenously manufacture it. In fact, if you see the manufacturing industry in India grew pre-patent times primarily on reverse engineering. So whether it was in pharma, whether it was automobiles, whether it was in agrochemicals, we just copied the available products, and our scientists did a brilliant job. But when it comes to discovering, that doesn't happen here. And that is an extremely expensive exercise. The McKinsey report says that the costs are about $200 million spread over 10 to 12 years to discover a molecule. And when you discover a molecule, you are not discovering one molecule. You are screening probably thousands of them, and then seeing whether one of them will really work as an agrochemical and pass through the required environmental, bioefficacy and other safety related trials and data.
The thing I wanted to ask you, Sandeep, is this industry has got a high inventory level, long-term credit to farmers. So they're an intensive working capital industry. Industry. As a banker, is it a good news for you? And what are you doing to make their life easy?
What we try and do is, like any other industry, is to look at the availability of working capital and the cost of the working capital.
Okay.
Now, on the availability, clearly what we try and do is that, especially if the imports, of saying how can we make import more efficient, can we provide buyer's credit through dollar funding, which is cheaper than rupee funding, which looks at the cost, can we assist with RMB letters of credit as compared to dollar letter of credit, if that can make a difference. Then to see whether any kind of funding can be done at the dealer finance level. So at the dealer level, if any funding can be done.
Talking about export actually, I thought I was trying to insulate yourself. I find 50% of your produce is exported. It's a huge opportunity there.
When it comes to active ingredient production, yes, there is a huge opportunity of manufacturing in India, because I believe that in India we can manufacture at a very good price, and we have got the talent and machinery, and it is one country where manufacturing for 12 months is possible. I say that because yes, if you look at the Western world, there will be snowfalls and tough times actually, which you don't face in India. So it is a manufacturing
exporting to
environment.
USA, Europe, those kind of countries.
There is opportunity everywhere across the world actually, because as Mr. Singhal said, that when you are providing the new generation products, they will go to the Western world, and when it comes to generics, they will go to the other parts of the world. Successful in inventing certain
Okay, I
products
want
in
Dr.
India.
Mazumdar and Mr. Singhal to answer this one. Where do you think the threat for this industry? Is it the counterfeit, spurious drugs, spurious products, or it is threat from genetically modified? I was told by using BT cotton, the consumption of pesticides come down from 63% to 50%. So where does the threat lie for the industry, and how are you going to counter it?
Well,
Yeah, Dr. Mazumdar.
I think, you know, if you look for from the GMO,
Yeah.
my simple answer is that no, that if you close one door, the other door is going to get open.
Okay.
That is exactly what has happened in case of cotton.
Okay.
So we have actually the consumption of pesticides for one particular caterpillar segment has gone down, but the consumption of pesticide in the other segment, like sucking pest segment, has gone up. So I don't think that GMO is going to disturb this industry so much. Maybe there will be some effect, but not so much. But I am really afraid of this counterfeit thing, what you said, you know. If you, this
It's a
is
huge
this
thing?
Huge, I think it is huge, and it's unaccounted, and it is huge. Because now when you're talking of the export potentials, and if you don't keep check on all these small issues, you know, which actually is hurting, so probably, you know, what we are talking, it will always remain in paper, you know.
Okay, Sandeep, as a banker, do you see advising this sector in terms of consolidating, in terms of M&A, to have a global connect?
Now, from a banker's perspective, frankly, the domestic M&A is really, can only be supported if it's a slump sale, asset sale. You finance is no big deal. I think that's fairly straightforward. Where it can get interesting is, and we've already been working with some of the businesses, is what we're seeing happening globally. Globally, what's happening is some of the larger players, as we've seen in FMCG, are looking at the portfolio of products and brands, and then they're saying those at the margin they want to divest. And they want to divest because A, they're too small, or to produce those volumes doesn't make sense for them. So what we're seeing is some of the Indian houses are going in and buying those brands and those markets, and are able to then backward integration of production here. That's why we can play a role, and we've been kind of funding these overseas purchases for some of the companies.
Okay, Dr. Mazumdar, where do you think the growth will come from for this industry, or what will spur the growth for this industry?
Well, I think it can come both vertically and horizontally. If you think vertically, you know, it requires induction of more and more molecules into the portfolio. That portfolio management will become a very key factor. Now today, if you think that you don't have a new molecule, or you can outsource a new molecule from other countries like Japan, it's good enough. To replace a new molecule which you cannot afford to make in the next 10 years, or you cannot afford to invest so much of money.
Okay.
The second option is that there are lots of, you know, you mentioned that between 2012 and 2014, number of chemicals are going to get off-patented. Now that's a big option open for us.
But we need to look at this in another macro view. See, let's get it clear. It's clear to all politicians that India has to concentrate on its agriculture. And if you want to concentrate on agriculture, you have to concentrate on the input industry. And I'm talking from a global perspective, rather than just on the agrochemicals, of which agrochemicals, pesticides are an integral part. And that is therefore, in terms of growth, as long as that focus on agriculture will remain, the ability to grow the inputs business is going to remain with it.
Policy like, the fertilizer industry, the subsidy that is given to fertilizer industry, was agrochemical industry in that sense given a step monthly
Oh,
treatment?
please. I mean, as an industrialist, I don't want subsidies at all.
Well, he wants to comment on
I
that.
think, if you look at the subsidy, what is the total subsidy given for fertilizer industry? If you look at that amount,
Yeah.
that same amount without giving subsidy could have been invested in some other areas like weed control.
Okay.
We talked about that control of weeds in wheat. In 1992, there was a parliament question when the wheat production came down from 18 quintals to 6 quintal per acre, almost 1/4. And we had a food shortage. Everybody started shouting. What has helped to again bring it back to the same level of production? It is the agrochemical.
Like if we look at
So
the
that's
agrochemical
what I'm
industry, yes, I do favor that we don't need subsidies, but there are no relaxations either. It's just a 10,000 crore industry if we look at the farmer sales or sales to the farmer from the companies. And even then there are differences in taxations in different states. Every second year there are changes in excise duty norms. And I don't know, for such a small industry, why they are focusing so much on putting up the taxes and more taxes actually every time. Rather there should be exemption in a country where the population is growing at such a vast pace and we need so much food for this population. So there should be some favors for the industry, which I do not see actually.
I think the budget is just around the corner. I think your industry need to represent on that. Well, can this industry touch $8 billion mark by 2017 from current 3 billion plus? Is it possible?
I am very positive about it because this now the gate is open. If you can get say 100 molecules which has been recently patented, get into this country, make you learn the process of manufacturing, and then you have the floodgate open for export to many countries. Because most of the countries, they don't want to put a pesticide plant and manufacture pesticide and then say that, okay, this is the cost of my pesticide. The moment you try to compare that with the pesticide produced in India, you will find the difference, that it is cheaper, quality. So I feel that the export market is very wide open. Probably we make a little changes in our system, in our existence, and also in our structure of the pesticide companies.
Okay, two more questions before we wind up. What could be the game changer for this industry, according to you?
I mean, the major change, the problem today I see here is the ambivalence of the government to proactively promote the need for agrochemical and crop protection umbrella. If that can change into a positive attitude, recognizing that the technology of products has undergone a major change in terms of environmental safety, not bend down on the knees to the environmentalists and mess it up like the GMO business has been done in this country, that would be a major game changer. And in the context of the total industry size, we must accept that the industry today is virtually 60% domestic, 40% exports. So on the export front, we face the usual infrastructural constraint problems of power, electricity, and I'm observing the last 2-3 years we are suddenly getting into a very high cost economy. I mean, we are all facing this. I mean, you were running gas plants on power, now the prices of gas are such that they have become completely unviable. So these are those are typical challenges that most of the export industries of the country are facing. But in terms of availability of manpower, in terms of skills, in terms of ability, we can do it. But we need that.
What do you think would be the game changer?
I believe the farmers' awareness and water. Water is the most important resource actually. If farmer gets the water, definitely you will see the yields going up, you will see the change in the total quantum of food that is produced in the country actually. That is a very important aspect. So something needs to be done on water, and then also one more thing, the thing is that if the farmer produces more, then there should be market available for that. Sometimes in cases of vegetables,
today farmers are in a very good position. MSP is good, everything seems...
MSP is limited to certain crops. It's not there for every crop actually. That is also one problem of the farmer. He is bound to produce only those crops where the MSP is mentioned.
Okay. Dr. Majumdar?
Well, I'll say only two things. Only thing is that, this is a very big question when you say it is a game changer. I will just simply submit saying to this panel that we want government support. That's all. number one. Number two is the reach, you know, when you have to grow horizontally, the reach in terms of acquisition in the foreign countries, acquisition in the within the countries, expansion in geographies, expansion in the crop-based segments. I think these are the two things, reach and the government support. I think these are the two main issues which can really change the game in the, at least in the agrochemical industry.
Bankers' view?
Always stick to finance. So I think the game changer would really be that for this industry, the end customer is the farmer, who in fact is a self-employed entrepreneur. So excess of credit and capital to the farmer would just allow the person to buy more and invest more in the business.
So final question, can India become the global hub for agrochemical industry in 1 minute?
I think that's a huge hope. Not that easy. We may not be the global hub, but we can become a very important hub.
Rajesh?
Yeah, I agree fully actually, because as I said in my previous discussion also, that we have the manufacturing strength and we have got the technicians, and our quality is acceptable in the world now. So yes, world is looking at us for their requirements.
Dr. Majumdar?
Yeah, I think I am very positive about it, provided if I get support from my government, and also then if we can have the reach worldwide, that's all.
And the money man has the last say?
Always the last. But I would say the key part is how big can we make the domestic economy, domestic market for this, because that will give us the scale to do well on the export front, and that will make us a world beater if we can do the two.
Okay, very well put. Thanks a lot, gentlemen, for being on the show.
Yeah.
Nice having all of you here. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.